guys, I think we all can agree that one of the biggest things that we deal with or have to think about in this life is money. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. If you love money, if you're willing to do anything to get it, you'll compromise and life can get very hairy. However, the Bible also says money answers all things. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. And so we need to have more money. We need to have great relationships with money. We need to be having multiple streams of income. That's kind of how you amass wealth right about now. We need to make sure we're not loving money. We're not holding on so tight to money and hoarding it, but also we're not giving it out too freely. There's a balance. But there are certain other things that we need to know, and we have to have an understanding of money and how it works and how to make it best work for us. So I decided to do just a miniature financial seminar, not because I'm just so incredibly knowledgeable and well versed, but because I've learned some things. And a lot of people, especially in the Black community, we don't talk a lot about insurance and life insurance. We don't talk a lot about our credit and keeping your credit good. Most people, I know most Black people have like terrible credit, or they're always struggling to fix their credit or thinking about fixing their credit and never take the steps. It is so important to keep your credit good. A lot of times your mom, your dad, your auntie and them have messed up your credit before you can even turn 18. And I never did that to my children. I would never do that. My son just did a Capital One credit card application and they sent him a letter back saying you have zero credit, like your credit score is a zero. So they say that no credit is just as bad as bad credit, but I beg to differ. And I'm not like the expert on it, but I just feel like you can do something and build some credit. It's harder when you have thousands of dollars in debt and you've got to clean that up. That's just how I feel. But credit is highly important in America. I don't know about other countries. And you have the goal set. So we're going to talk about that today. And there are some rules for money management. We have to manage our money. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but that's kind of what I want to start with. So it says 10 basic rules of money management. The first one is to plan. I think when it says plan for the future, major purchases, and periodic expenses, they always say that you want to have an emergency fund, and the emergency fund should be 3 months worth of rent and all your bills. A lot of people have gone beast mode that I know, or they're part of closed groups that I'm part of, like the Budgetnista. She has a closed group that's just amazing. It's really inspiring. People are getting to it, cleaning up debt. Young people are buying houses. People are buying their own car. It is just amazing what the young people are doing, what veteran adults are doing. I'm loving it. And so people are like, I saved $10,000 in 6 months. And I'm like, teach me, show me how. So I think that you should have an emergency fund. But like Dave Ramsey said, what would you do in an emergency if you didn't have your emergency fund? So he tells people to be resourceful and creative and not just immediately in an emergency run and touch that money. Because you could have been saving it for years or months. When you use it, it's used. So try to see what else you can do. Sometimes we just have to weather the storm financially until it passes. Sometimes you got to eat those noodles or those whatever, even though I think that's like cancer-causing food. But sometimes you have to eat what I call struggle food for a season, a couple months, a year, couple weeks, whatever it is. So plan. Have some money set to the side in either like a savings account that you can't touch until a certain date, or some kind of something to where it's not readily available. Sometimes people go and get a savings account and they don't have it connected to their card, or they don't have a card for it. So they have to physically get up and go to the branch of the bank in order to touch it. But whatever you do, please be saving money. It says set financial goals. Determine short, mid, and long range financial goals. Sometimes it's good to say, you know what, I want to own a home. I want to buy a vehicle. I want to pay my car note off. I want to do X, Y, Z. So I'm going to plan for that. Excellent. Plan for it. Execute. Do what you need to do. But sometimes the financial goal is, I want to amass wealth. I think that's when you have to plan and do some things and have multiple streams of income, and that takes a lot of planning. So have some kind of goal in mind. What do you want your money to do for you? What do you need money for? You should definitely have a budget, and it should show you how much money you typically make. Not the child tax credit, not the different things that are coming now, stimulus, but what do you typically make just from your job or your various sources of income? Maybe you own a business. What do you always make pretty much each week, every 2 weeks, each month, whatever it is? And what are your bills that do not change? You have some bills that are more flexible. Over maybe electricity was 122 this month. Maybe next month is 333 because now winter has started, whatever. But what bills are every single month or every single whatever, and how much are they? My bills pretty much don't fluctuate besides maybe the amount when it comes to like electricity or whatever. And I have a book that I'm going to show you guys, and I should have brought it here to the table, and I write it down. Write that thing down. We got to be able to see it. You got to know how much you get each month. I listened to a finance seminar one time at church years ago, and the guy said, you got to talk to your money like a person. Oh, you walking out the door? Okay, when you coming back? What are you bringing with you? And, how are we going to use this or whatever? And so it was a really great seminar. Know your financial situation. It says determine monthly living expenses, periodic expenses, and monthly debt. Know your debt, whether you're paying, like you're actually paying. Some of us don't pay. You're actually paying on your student loans. You took out a loan for something, a payday loan, and please don't do that. They're terrible. I learned that the hard way, but I took out a loan recently because I needed to cover my bills while I was furloughed in the summer and waiting for unemployment, waiting for teacher money, waiting for stuff to come in. And now I'm having to pay that back. And it's actually a $2,000 loan. I made my first payment 2 days ago, and it was actually due August 5th. And I already saw the interest drop like considerably. And then I'm paying 2 more payments next week, and then up to like 4 payments the week after. Like legit, I have 30 days to make 1 payment each month for 24 months. That's a long time. I do not plan to have this debt looming over my head that long. Never plan for long-term debt. Get that stuff paid off, guys. But it was really important. I needed it. It helped me tremendously. And it is a hefty amount, but I'm going to attack that thing. Like legit, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to have 8 or 9 payments, which are supposed to be monthly. So I'm going to pay in 2 or 3 weeks what I should have been paying in 8 months. And it's going to help me develop a realistic budget. It has to be realistic. It has to be what's really coming in your house, what's really going out and need to be paid. And you need to make sure miscellaneous is there. You need to make sure entertainment is there, because it's nothing like the feeling of getting up every day, working hard, giving all your money to your debtors, your bill collectors, and everybody else, and you can do nothing for yourself. It's a hardship for you to get the necessities. You struggling to get toothpaste. You can't go out to McDonald's and eat a meal, but you work so hard. So include that entertainment, include that miscellaneous. Pay yourself, guys. Save some money. I don't care if it's $25 each check. Please save something so that you have something for the future, and don't immediately spend it when a scary situation comes or an emergency comes. Let that be a last resort, hitting that emergency fund. Don't allow expenses to exceed your income. This is very important. It says avoid paying only the minimum on your charge cards. I have 2 credit cards. I got them specifically to build my credit. It worked tremendously. I've never, ever been late on a payment. I have taxed it out 2 or 3 times, and it hit my credit in real time, in real life, with TransUnion in them, not just Credit Karma. And it took me down almost 100 points, so it is real. But utilization, especially if you have a couple $100s or a couple $1,000s, sticking to 10, 11% is difficult. But I have taxed these things out and have to pay it. I just paid both my credit cards, and together combined, they're only about $800. I have a low limit. I'm trying to get not so much another card, but extended limits. But they still have helped me so much. But don't just pay the minimum. If it's $25, 30, whatever it is, always pay more, 50 something. I like to pay mine off, and some people will argue that's not the way to do it and you have to always be paying, and that's really a way to stay in debt. They don't care if I pay on my whole credit card over the course of a year by doing $25. But I care because I owe. If anything goes on, it's like, man, I owe them $500. So I don't like to use that much of my credit cards. Never exceed the utilization on your credit cards. Save. Save for periodic expenses such as care and home maintenance. Save 5 to 10% of your net income. Accumulate 3 to 6 months salary in an emergency fund. That's what I was telling you guys. I think 3 to 6 months of your monthly salary, just in case anything goes down and you can't work, I think that's excellent. We still living in Delta variant, round 2 COVID. So let's make sure we're saving our money. And then sometimes you do need to do something for your health or your home or your car or get it repaired or something like that. Pay your bills on time. I don't care if I tap these credit cards out and they are crying uncle. I have paid more than the minimum, but even the 1 or 2 times that I had to pay like $30, I don't think I ever just paid $25. I have paid on time. Pay your rent on time. Pay every bill that you have on time. Pay off your loans, student loans, whatever you're paying that's extra, it's debt. Pay it on time or early. Pay those credit cards on time, people, please, because that plays into your credit, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is how well you pay things. So that is like a big deal. Pay everything on time. If you got to go without the hair getting done, the nails, the haircut, and hopefully it don't come to that and you're making more money and you're making your money make money for you. But in the meantime, in between time, please pay all your bills on time, all of them, big and small. Use credit wisely. Take care of your needs first. Money should be spent for wants only after needs have been met. Let me say that again. Take care of your needs first. We all know a need over a want. And if you need help, go to somebody that you find to be intelligent and wise and ask them, is this a need or is this a want? Case in point, I think you need to be presentable. So doing something with your hair, if that means going to the dollar store or the beauty supply store and getting some little dollar gel or getting something so you can put it back and look human. Okay, need. Spending $250 on braids, want. Having shoes on your feet every day that don't have holes in them and they protect your feet from anything you can step on and from the elements when you leave your home, need. Wearing a $180 pair of Jordans, want. Wearing clothes on your body every day, need. Having a $290 blazer from Dolce & Gabbana, want. So there's a difference. Living somewhere, having a roof over your head that's safe and affordable, need. Living in a $3,000 a month apartment, 1 bedroom, just because it has great amenities and a beautiful lake to look at. If you ain't making that kind of money and you don't have it, that's a want. Driving a car, I think, is a bit more than a luxury these days. I find that it's a necessity driving a car, and I live in Georgia. It's gotten to the point where it's like, yeah, you need a car. Cash car, Hyundai, Toyota, whatever. I would say need. Okay, driving your dream car, want. You buy your dream car when you can afford it and it's not detrimental to you or a hardship. So take care of needs first and then get wants. Take care of some wants. Don't live a life where it's all about needs and it's all about paying everybody and you're frazzled and everything is, travel. Please travel. Save money to travel. But travel, guys, it's a beautiful part of life. The world is so big and beautiful. See it. Eat food, meet new people, make connections and network, party, dance all night under the moon somewhere on someone's island. Travel. Make time, make room, spend money on wants, but not every want, and not to your detriment, and never over needs. So what else? Keep a record of daily expenditures. Now, this is hard for me. It says be aware of where your money is going. Use a spending diary to assess or assist you in identifying areas where adjustments need to be made. I like this idea, but it's easier said than done. You should always know where your money is going. You should always know how much money you make at any given time per month consistently. You should always know like how much money is leaving your hand, leaving your home, leaving your savings or your checking account. Keep up with that kind of stuff. How much money you're spending with those credit cards. And don't have too many credit cards. I know people that have 10 credit cards, 20. People get $40,000, $100,000 in credit card debt. My God, people, please don't do it to yourself. So you should know where your money is going. But to write down every expense all the time, I do keep records in my book. I sometimes pay 2 or 3 different times that month on my credit card to get that balance down, and I write that down. But I cannot say that I keep up with every receipt, though that's a good policy. I don't like extra papers, or I keep up with every dime that I'm spending. But I've paid the cost for it. It's a good idea to keep track. It's just not that realistic sometimes to write down every little single thing, unless you keep one of those little things that give you at the bank. But for somebody to say, went to Chick-fil-A, spent $10.92, and then got gas, spent $40.52, maybe not. But it's a great idea, and it's necessary to know where your money is going. You might need to try to get in the habit of writing it down. But I can't tell you that this is something I just do all the time past my budget book and writing down those things that are very important. Make sure you're writing down the vital information and keeping it somewhere, like in a book, a notebook, a budget book, where you're going to hold on to it and it doesn't become a whole lot of receipts, a whole bunch of, though I think you should keep receipts, a whole bunch of papers. So to recap, plan, set financial goals, know where you are, your whole living situation, develop a realistic budget. Don't allow your expenses to exceed your income. Save, 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 save. They consider that paying yourself first. I don't care how much you make. You can save $20. You can save $10. You can save $5. And it's probably best to save it in a bank and not under your pillow or in a shoebox, but you decide what's best for you. Because maybe you can have $2,000 cash in a shoebox and not touch it in an emergency situation. Not touch it to go buy a purse. Not touch it to go hang out with the fellas if you're a dude, or go drinking or go to a strip club or whatever. But I can't have money just in a box somewhere. I need it in a bank, and preferably where I can't really get to it readily. Pay your bills on time. Use your credit wisely. Keep a record of your spending and know where your money is going at all times. Know how much money is going out and know how much money is coming in. All right, so you want to set goals. Short-term, intermediate goals, and long-term. Long-term might be, I want to retire at this age. And that requires a lot of planning and saving money. Investing, possibly. Having, knowing. Knowledge is power. You need to know about your 401k. You need to know about any of these things that you get at the bank to save money, and about interest. Interest can compound and really help you, but you need to know. An intermediate goal might be, I want to pay off my car note in 3 years. I want to save money for a down payment on a house, and I'm giving myself a year to do it. Those kind of goals. And then short term are usually less than a year. Intermediate is usually more than a year but less than 5. And long term is usually more than 5. So with the short term, less than a year goal, it might be, I want to get $2,000 in under a year in my savings account, or I want to save $500, or I want to save some money and do an investment, like test the waters on investing, because I think you guys should getting all the knowledge you can. Make sure everything is on the up and up and legal, and vet, but do some investments. Let your money make money for you. It can be lucrative. It can be a scam. It can be a lot with it. It can go haywire if you don't know what you should know. That's why you need to prepare. That's why you need to get with people that are trustworthy, that are doing it, that are knowledgeable, that can teach you. Read some books, watch some YouTube, take some seminars. Definitely check out everything you're interested in investing in. But invest a little bit of money. It don't take much. People think you got to have hundreds or thousands of dollars. You can invest $50 somewhere. Save money and invest, but just make sure you know what you should know. So those short-term goals, I want to get my kitchen remodeled, and I figured out that's going to take $5,000. I can save that if I take X amount from each check each month. So whatever your goals are, but always have goals for your money. I feel like your money needs a place to go. It can't just be the bank. It can't just be I only save for vacations. I only save for big purchases. You want to keep it going. And I really feel like you need multiple streams of income. And then you've got to watch your money and kind of protect it. You got to have that good relationship with money. Lastly, let's talk about credit. You can talk on and on and on about credit. But what I'll just say is that it's highly important. It's essential. It's vital living in America to keep your credit good. Starting at like 18, you have no credit, but you can legally build credit. You can get a student credit card if you're a student, you go to college. I'm not sure about a high school student, but there are some students like my son, you turn 18, but you graduate a few months later. So you're still a student. You can get a phone in your name. Be very careful. Make sure you can afford whatever you get. But there are small ways that are not, super detrimental to you. And you always got to be responsible and keep up with stuff and pay your bills on time. But you can get a little bill in your name and start to build credit. But it's hard sometimes when you owe for every credit card. You got 5 credit cards, even if your limits are small. My 2 credit cards combined, I have a $500 and a $300. That is $800. But come up with $800 over and over to pay them off completely, like I have in the last couple months of being furloughed and not really working, and it feels like $8,000. So, that's a thing. So, credit. Keep your credit clean. Keep your credit good. Pay everything off on time. Don't get things that you know you can't afford. Don't go get the dream car at 18, 19, 20, 21 if you can't afford it. Don't rely on I have 2, 3, 4 jobs, because that situation might change. Unfortunately, people get illness, people get COVID, different things happen. You don't want to be like, well, I'm going to do XYZ based on what's currently happening. Plan for your future. If you continue to live, and I pray that you do, there's always time for that. So don't live above your means. In fact, live below your means, not in an uncomfortable way, eating noodles if you don't have to, because you want to eat healthy and vibrant. You want to live well. You want to have some entertainment and some fun. But don't live like a big ball of shot caller all the way, even if you kind of could. Just stack that money, invest that money, make it work for you so that later on it is effortless to live like a baller, because you really, really, really are a baller at that point. So yeah, pay those bills on time. Don't live above your means. Don't spend frivolously, just giving money, buying stuff for people, buying stuff for yourself, closet full of clothes and shoes. And this is for men too. Toys, lots of things, $500 video game, but don't really have nothing. That's not how we want to live. So with the credit, 35% of it is your payment history, the record of your on time and late payments. Please try to abstain or refrain from having late payments. Pay everything early or on time. But on time is almost late. Pay it early. 30%, your available credit. That's the portion of balance to your credit limit. Length of history. So that's the time since you've had it. I've only had one of my credit cards because I didn't get it until like almost 2 years ago, with the intention 100% of building my credit. And it helped me to do that because I took care of it at first, still kind of taking care of it, paid all my payments to this day on time, and it has helped build my credit. But it matters if I've had credit or that type of credit, because there's different types of credit too, for 5 years versus 1 year or 2 months. So it's showing me, even now on Credit Karma, how long have I had this student loan? How long have I had this debt? How long have I had this type of credit cards, that type of credit? So it matters about how long you keep credit in general and keep good credit. Or I would focus on you making sure it's good credit and stays good. But how long have you had credit history? type of credit. You got mortgages. You have installment loans, like what I'm kind of paying off. You have your card loan. You have credit cards, different types of credit. So 10% of your overall credit is how many different types of credit you have. And then 10% is inquiries. So when you go to that pink store or to Bob's Sporting Goods or something, and they offer you that credit card and you apply for it, but you don't get it, and maybe you do, and you do that everywhere you go to try to save that 10-15%, don't get that at Burlington and everywhere you go. Sears, JCPenney's. Is Sears completely closed? Maybe. JCPenney's, Macy's. Don't apply for all these cards because they're doing inquiries. And you have a soft inquiry, and that's like, okay, they see it, it's not really a trip. And then you have a hard inquiry, and you don't want a whole lot of those, 18 of them, 20 of them, because everywhere you went, you tried to get a card, especially if your credit is bad or you're building it or starting fresh or starting from the ground up. And you might not get it, and then now you have a trail of hard inquiries, which eventually fall off, but they impact you for that couple months, that credit season, whatever it is. So just try to avoid doing those things. But I would say, please keep your credit good. Don't go out here and get all this stuff and get fancy and get wild and end up 22 years old in total debt. 25 years old, swimming in debt, don't know what to do. 30s, where you get a little bit more knowledge and apply what you learned in your 20s, but there's still room for error. Really, all of our lives, we're all imperfect. But don't go out here and be 40, 50 and really get jiggy with it. Because I didn't get my first credit card until I was like middle 30s. Don't come out here and walk right into debt. Take care of yourself, love yourself. Don't love money, but treat money well, and money will treat you well. And spend your money wisely and take care of your credit. So that's all I got for you. It was a lot, but if you listened to all of it, I hope that it was helpful, and I hope that you develop some money goals if you didn't have any. Please, I used to think, oh, I don't have any money to save. It could have been $5. Save by paying yourself every time you get money, every check. You know, tithing. Tithing is important. They're not going to tell you that and all of that. But if you're a Christian, a child of God, son, daughter, tithe. Tithe. God said, hey, test me, try me out on the tithe. And that's 10% of your total income. And you decide what that looks like. And some people, in that same seminar, the guy said, don't get a student loan and then tithe 10% of that. That's supposed to go to XYZ. That's for a reason. So it's not maybe every dime. I used to, when I first started tithing, because I didn't do it always in my Christian walk, I tithed on birthday money, gift money, income, anything I got, income tax. I actually tithed on gross and not net. So I really didn't have to tithe on income tax, but you might offer or whatever, because I had already been paying total 10% on everything. I might bring home, let's say $800, but I actually got $1,100 for the check. I tithe on the $1,100. So that's a good method too for you tithers that don't want to. You be like, ooh, now I got to give Jesus $1,000. Not necessarily. So tithing is good, and you should write that into your budget. Write everything into your budget. Hold on, please. Nicholas, please look in my room and get me the budget book that I have. It might be on my bed or somewhere close to the wall by some of my things. I'm going to show you guys my budget book. Like, I had a smaller one, and I liked that one. It was like maybe this big. And then I ordered a new one that I was interested in, and they were like $6 on Amazon. But this one was like huge. It's like for real a budget book. But it helps me keep track of stuff. I like monthly more than weekly and day to day. Because again, you should always know where all your money is going and write as much down as you can, especially those really important things. But I personally don't write every single thing down. So I don't really use the weekly papers, but the monthly for sure. And I always like to make sure it's neat and it's in black and white or black and blue or whatever, and I can see it. And that is so important to help you with your money. Thank you so much. So it says budgeting. See how big it is, guys? It's cute. And so for the month of July, see, these are the weekly ones. And they're all set up different. Get one that works for you, or get a blank journal or blank notebook or whatever it is. But have something that you write down your money, especially your monthly expenses, your monthly debt. You got to know where your money is going. So I put my rent, and this gives you your expenses, when it's due, the amount, and a note. And for the note, I put either when I paid it, or that it's paid in full, or that I had to pay it in 2 increments. Like right here for my car note, I had spent my daily balance. So I paid the bulk of it on the 3rd of the month, and on the 4th, I had a $10 balance. So I put both what I paid in each day. And then, like here for my insurance, I paid that whole thing, but they actually took it, and it was a couple days after the fact. So I wrote down that date. Um, what else? For my phone bill, I paid that 7/15, but it's already due on the 22nd of the month. So I typically pay all my bills early. So I pay almost everything early every month as much as I can. So I paid that one early. So I didn't just put 7/22. I put the day I paid it. And then my electricity bill was due on the 13th. I paid it on July 4th. So I just make notes. So like for my rent, I actually got the money order on the 3rd, which was a Saturday. They were closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday because it was a holiday. Apparently everybody celebrated July 4th, like the banks and all of that, on basically July 6th or 5th, I think, the 5th. And we're late on the 5th. And I'm like never late. So I actually didn't pay it to the 6th. And I wrote that down too. And I put a note at the bottom to explain that. Rental office closed Saturday, July 3rd through Tuesday, July 6th, but no late fee was applied because they understood, so they did not charge me a late fee, especially since I had my money order. You're not late until the 5th. I had my money order on the 3rd. So it wasn't my fault that you guys are closed all weekend and closed for a day honoring a holiday that actually was the day before. So, credit card A. I have 2 credit cards. I call one credit card A, credit card B. One is due the 8th of each month, one is due on the 18th. So I make little notes here. So for August, the only thing I have paid is rent. August rent is due on August 1st, and we have until the 5th here where I live to pay it. I actually paid mine the 26th of July. So I wrote down paid on full Monday 7/26/21. So it's not even August now. Today is July 31st, so it's the very last day of July, and we will be stepping by the grace of God until August 1st tomorrow, a new month. Happy new month early to you. But that rent has been paid for like a week, and it was paid early. I pay rent early if I can too. Now my Georgia Power bill is due on the 11th, but I'm going to try to pay that this week as well towards the end of the week. So it'll be a few days early. Then I have Netflix, Amazon, Xfinity Wi-Fi. Write down all your bills, big or small, and these are my monthly bills. Progressive Insurance, car note, T-Mobile, and then I have a loan that I'm paying off. So that loan, the first payment was due August 5th. I paid the first installment 7/29, so that was a few days ago. I'm going to make 2 more payments next week and then a few more as the weeks go on. So I'm not taking 24 months. I'm not taking, several months. I'm going to hit this hard. And that's kind of the mindset you have to have. It's not always possible, but you have to try to pay off debt as soon as you can. Don't spend your life in debt. The Bible says, owe a man nothing but love. So sometimes we have to have debt, especially in America where they make it look so easy peasy and it's so easy to kind of get credit and pay something later. And sometimes it's necessary. These are struggling times. Money is not always flowing. A lot of us are check to check poor or check to check rich or whatever you want to call it. Let's speak life. And I get that. But don't spend your whole life paying off debt. Travel, eat wonderful things, go great places, make memories. That's what you have on your deathbed, is the wonderful life or not that you lived, and your experiences. Make memories, make experiences. And you probably have to pay for a lot of it. Even though some of the best things in life are free, like love and all of that. But don't spend your life tangled in debt, suffering, check to check, struggling. Don't do it. I've done it for all these years, more or less, and I'm breaking the cycle. Generationally and everything, I'm trying to leave businesses and legacy and money for my children, not so that they don't know how to work, because they definitely do and they understand adversity and it does make you stronger, but giving them that advantage and that leg up that I would have loved to have had. So I caution you or advise you to do the same thing. But even if you have no children or don't plan on having kids, or it's not even about the money that you save for when you're gone. We can't take it to the grave. How are you living while you're here? Do you plan to retire? Some people can never retire. They're at McDonald's at 80, 70. That makes me sad a little bit. Do you plan on traveling more? Do you plan on getting into another field, going back to school? What is it that you want to do? How do you want to live? How do you want to eat? Where do you want to live when you get to be 60, 70, 80, 90, provided you live that long? Money answers all things. Have you some money? Have a budget. Write it down. Make the vision. Or write down the vision, make it plain. I know we kind of distort that context of that meaning, but I think even if you're just saying, hey, write down the vision of your money and your life story and how money plays a role in your life, do it. Anyway, guys, I love you. Thank you for listening. Come back and see me anytime. I got the curly hair, don't care. All right, bye, guys. Be good to yourself. Stay safe and healthy. Invest in yourself. Yes, have entertainment. Yes, have miscellaneous. Yes, have that emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of your salary for that month. Your rent for several months. All your mortgage, all that jazz. Car note for several months. But invest in yourself. Invest in vitamins. We're not getting good soil and good food. Invest in the healthier, best, leaner cuts of meat. Stay away from that red meat if you can. You don't have to be vegetarian, but go to a kosher place or halal or some place where it's a good meat. And it's going to cost you more. You're worth it, and you want to be alive and you want to be healthy. Invest in yourself. Invest in how you look. Invest in what you present to the world, your clothes, your shoes. They don't have to be the $500 red bottoms, but